Together was written and directed by Michael Shanks, and it was produced by Alison Brie and Dave Franco together. But after watching it, I have to wonder how much influence did they have producing it versus him writing it? Because this very much feels like a story that the two of them wrote together and helped make and bring to life together through their years of experience of being married and being together. This is a body horror movie with plenty of suspense. Me personally, I'm not normally a big fan of body horror. I like scary movies here and there. I love a good horror movie, but body horror sometimes is too much and freaks me out. I just can't quite deal with or cope with all of the little gross bits of the bodies moving around. But Together doesn't just rely on the body horror to bring you in and to scare you. This movie has plenty of suspense woven into it, plenty of mystery. There's enough going on that you're not just brought in by the one element. Together explores the theme of losing yourself in a relationship or losing yourself to your partner, or almost forgetting who you are in a relationship, becoming so comfortable, becoming so complacent next to somebody else that you kind of lose yourself. It's a really interesting exploration of this idea in that they make it physical. The two start to fuse, and their codependence or their co-reliance becomes a physical manifestation, and we see it in the movie. It's really entertaining the way they handle this topic and dance around it. They dive in really deep on the theme they're exploring without being too ham-fisted, but by making it physical, it was a really fun way of tackling the issue. And we see both sides of it. Early on in the movie, you kind of think that Alison Brie's character, Millie, might be holding Dave Franco's Tim back, and she's kind of forcing him to move with her, forcing him into this relationship, forcing him to go further and further in these next steps, while also they're still not yet married. They've just become long-term partners, or as they call it in the movie at one point, long-term boy partner friend. You really do see both sides, because early on you totally think Alison Brie is just smothering him and bringing him deeper in the relationship, despite him kind of kicking and screaming. But we see later on that he is totally reliant on her to make his world move. He's not bringing in money. He's a failed musician or semi-failed musician. He's still chasing the dream, but he's not really chasing it. He's just kind of idling by, letting time slip past them, letting their relationship, letting his life slip past them. Even Millie's brother early on in the movie comments on it. Hey man, I introduced y'all and didn't think you were gonna just become her and live her life. I just thought you would make her fun, not the other way around. Because they're all cool musicians and she's just a school teacher, which is, a bad thing in their eyes. It's not really a bad thing, it's a great thing, but they're kind of shitting on it because it's a normal job. She's not a cool musician in the city. We see her struggle to be there for Dave Franco's character, who had a terrible thing happen in the past with his parents, where it seems like it's totally stunted him in life. But she also wants to push him forward, have him become his own person and do things. She's not just this totally toxic, codependent person like it's framed early on. They both are definitely wildly codependent, but there's interesting ebbs and flows. The camera work in this movie can be really fun at points. It really goes to accentuate the body horror aspects of the movie, or when someone's body is crunching and crunching and flipping around, the way the camera moves around their body and with their body gives this really chilling and gross effect. Like, I watch a lot of this movie, like halfway covering my eyes, halfway covering my face. I really enjoyed it, but there's a lot of moments where it's like, ooh, I can't quite look right at that. I'm weak. I can't quite just stare through it. I'm not strong enough. Michael Shanks does a lot of interesting stuff with the camera here. I look back at his filmography and there's not a lot there. It's not super notable, which is surprising considering how good of a job he does here. That's part of why I wonder how much influence did Dave Franco and Alison Brie have on this? It almost feels like it's somewhat of their combined directorial debut, but Michael Shanks is credited here as our sole director and our sole writer, which is really interesting because there is so much of Alison Brie and Dave Franco in this. And not just because this movie essentially only has 3 characters with any real dialogue. We have Dave Franco as Tim, Alison Brie as Millie, and Damon Herriman as Jamie. He does a great job here in being, at first, this very welcoming figure. You kind of think maybe he's hitting on Alison Brie's character a little bit. I've seen him very briefly in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Mindhunter, and then he had a role in The Bike Riders last year that was not huge, but it was definitely notable. He was very memorable in that little bit of time he had. So here, essentially as our third lead, he's doing a pretty good job. He's playing more than one person, it feels like. He's very welcoming and neighborly and kind of played as if it's this more straightforward, just kind of is interested in the new person who moved in, the new pretty neighbor, Alison Brie, his teacher who he helped hire at the school. He's a coworker of hers at the school and their neighbor. So really, he's our third person in this movie. He's our third character, and he has a lot to carry in that role, despite not having the most screen time in the world. He's very important to the story, and he brings a lot to the performance. He transitions from who we meet early on to being a little bit creepier later in the movie, and you get hints that he might be a part of some weirdness going on, but you're not really sure. The opening here was creepy in all the right ways. The way we see these two dogs dogs who drink from this water that maybe causes something weird to happen, just staring at each other and the way their owner is horrified by it, and then seeing what comes after. This was a great setup for then introducing Alison Brie and Dave Franco. The pacing was really snappy in this too. We move through the story and move through the beats, and we see their characters go through their ups and downs, internal battles and internal trying to figure out who they are, what they want to do with their life. And at no point does it feel like it's dragging. It feels like it moves through at a very smooth and even pace. I was a big fan of the way they made this whole movie fall together really naturally. At no point did I feel like they needed to get going or like, oh, they're going too fast and missing stuff. There was a perfect pace in this movie. And getting down to the body horror, it was creepy, dude. It was gross in a good way. I have a very queasy stomach for that stuff, and even still, I was able to watch it without getting too grossed out. This isn't a gore fest. This isn't just totally relying on the gross feeling seeing that kind of stuff elicits. This movie has much more to it than just that horror, gore, whatever you want to call it. All in all, I was really impressed with Together. I saw 2 movies today. I saw The Bad Guys 2 and Together. Shocker, shocker. Together was much better. Bad Guys 2 wasn't bad, but anyways, I'll get to that in the review. Alison Brie and Dave Franco have been together for 13 years, and you can totally tell on screen. They bring so much of their relationship and their marriage, or not their real relationship marriage, but the chemistry and the connection that they play it on screen really well in these 2 people who have a kind of grosser, less healthy connection. All in all, this was a great first look at Michael Shanks' work. I want to kind of see what else he's done in the past. I looked at his filmography and don't recognize any of it, but I'm curious to see what else he's made now because this was so good, and I really want to know how much of this was him and how much of this was just the married couple on screen making the rest of the movie work. I'm going to give Together a strong 8 out of 10. This was a really good movie. I'm curious, what's your favorite movie with body horror as a central aspect in it? For me, I don't really enjoy body horror in general, so I'm going to say Together is my favorite because I have so little experience in the genre. But I want to know, what's your favorite? What did you like? Did you like the movie? How's the review? Do you think I'm dumb? Think I'm totally wrong? Please tell me. Let me know in the comments. Please subscribe. Bye-bye.